7:43 in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, the Carifta Games have come to an end last night with Jamaica in complete and utter dominance, but the Commonwealth Games are now 100 days, 12 hours, 16 minutes and 23 seconds away in Birmingham in the United Kingdom. And indeed, we're going to talk about the Queen's Baton Relay, which is an event entitled to show that collectivity, that unity of the Commonwealth and so on, and indeed they're getting ready for the Games. And the Trinidad and Tobago leg of the relay started yesterday and continues until the 21st. We're joined by Diane Henderson, Vice President of the Trinidad and Tobago Commonwealth Games Association, and Brian Lewis with us as well, President of the Trinidad and Tobago Commonwealth Games Association. Very good morning to you both. Thanks very much for joining us this morning. Brian, I see you have the baton behind you there. Just give us the context to the event and what the relay represents. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. And for just a quick clarification for those who may be a bit confused, the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee is also the Trinidad and Tobago Commonwealth Games Association and the Sand and Beach Games Association of Trinidad and Tobago. So we are here in terms of the Commonwealth as the Trinidad and Tobago Commonwealth Games Association. Yeah, I say Baton, but I know that there are different proper pronunciations. So it's historic in terms of the Baton. It's very technology based, which speaks to the youth engagement focus of the Birmingham 2022 Games in particular, which has also will create history, not just for the fact that it will have more medals being presented to women than men, but it will also the first time that athlete advocacy will be allowed in terms of the athletes will be able to present in a respectful and positive way their values on the podium, and that's historic in a very profound and meaningful way. So the Baton kind of represents a lot of things. As I said, you have GPS sensor, heart rate monitors, etc., which will capture all this data. There's a 360-degree camera embedded in that. In addition, there's the traditional Queen's message, which would have been inserted in the, if I may turn and point, the top of the Baton here. On October 21st, it got going from Birmingham Palace. It's a 294-day journey across the 72 countries and territories of the Commonwealth. So it represents for the Commonwealth Games Federation a turning point, so to speak, given the challenges it faces in the modern world to do with colonialism and slavery and all sorts of.
Well, you know, of course, Brian, there's a whole different discussion that we'll probably want to delve into at another time, or whether we should even bother to have something called a Commonwealth Games. But it is on it.
Correct. And it's very important in terms of, the British High Commissioner, Her Excellency Harriet Cross, received the baton from Miss Harris from Jamaica, where it was, and she is very open and frank about the necessary conversations, and you have to appreciate that. You can't have a baton going around the Commonwealth Games, where youth and young people in particular have a very strong position about certain things, and not understand that it is really also a symbol of the need for conversations and dialogue. But as you said, that for another point, we are absolutely delighted to be hosting the baton. Interestingly, the logo of the Birmingham 2022 Games reflects the diversity of the West Midland area where the Games will be held. So it's going to be an interesting event, and we'll be doing our part. Vice President Henderson will be able to say more in the time allotted about the actual activities planned. But
sure. So let's bring in Ms. Henderson into what's going to be happening, and we might have some imagery that we could show you as well while you're chatting with us. Ms. Henderson, good morning to you. So tell us what's going to be happening as far as the relay here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Morning, everyone. Yes, so we received the baton, and today we will visit the minister first of all, to give respects there, and then afterwards, tomorrow, when we go on to the relay, we move from Port of Spain. We start from the Commonwealth Games Association and Olympic House on Abercrombie Street and venture around the Savannah to the magnificent seven buildings, which are historic, to identify, areas around Trinidad and Tobago. We'll touch both Trinidad and Tobago in terms of covering our thing. So tomorrow, Wednesday the 20th, we venture in Trinidad and we reach the 100 steps, in signifying the 100 days to go to the games. We visit the 100 steps in San Fernando, which is another historic place and a fitness area that people use frequently. And then we also will visit the San Fernando Hill. On our way either to or fro, we also may reach one of the other sites we hope to reach is the Temple by the Sea. So we do intend to cover those areas. As you know, because of the pandemic, we are holding to protocols in a manner of speaking, so that we are not doing a hand relay this year. We are doing through vehicular, and we will be moving in vehicle. But with us, we have athletes that have represented or will represent us at the Commonwealth Games in boxing, athletics, netball, shooting, beach volleyball, and possibly triathlon. So we have, and swimming. So we have athletes who have represented us that will be with us to experience the entire occasion. When we venture on Thursday to Tobago, we are also, in collaboration with the Tobago House of Assembly, we will also have representatives of the athletes in Tobago, such as the Akeem Stewart and Sheridan Kirk. We will be visiting historical sites in Tobago as well, like the Nylon Pool and No Man's Land, by boat. So the Baton will be carried around, and represent Trinidad and Tobago in good stead. I cannot forget that Her Excellency, the President and the patron of the Commonwealth Games Association and Olympic Committee we will be meeting with her at a time scheduled. That would happen tomorrow. So we look forward to that, her involvement on this occasion.
Indeed, a lot of things happening there, Ms. Henderson, and I'm sure people might be following her. And just as a final thought, Brian Lewis, just coming back to you, a mischievous thought is to put the baton in the hand of a refugee, because that will be shipped to Rwanda, because that's what the British are doing now. For all of the refugees, they're shipping you immediately to Rwanda, because they've subcontracted their humanity to Rwanda. But again, that's why it brings back the whole question of the relevance of the Commonwealth Games. Not that we want to pour cold water on the thing, because lots of athletes are looking forward to the event. But just as a final thought, Brian Lewis, with the torch relay taking place in Trinidad and Tobago, do you sense that there's a real desire for real change? Because you've made a lot of noise about the Olympics and their attitude towards protest action and so on. Just as a final thought, Brian, are you satisfied that the Commonwealth is really interested in real change?
The Baton represents unity and diversity. And let me just quickly add, we also have a representative on track and field, and actually it's the acting president, Her Excellency Christine Kangaloo, as Her Excellency Paula May Weeks is out of the country. And we're very appreciative that the acting president consented to receive the Baton. If you look at the enthusiasm of the athletes in the Carifta swimming on the Easter weekend and the track and field, you see that there is significant enthusiasm, not just with Trinidad and Tobago, but around the Caribbean region, to represent your country at the highest level, whether it is age group or otherwise. And in that context, as you know, because you have commented about it from time to time, our athletes tend to be very narrowly focused. So for them, the pathway of achieving their high performance ambitions, whether we acknowledge that probably only 1 or 2% of them will, from the thousands of young people who will engage in sport, will move on to the highest level. There is that enthusiasm. But the reality is that, notwithstanding the fact that the sports, international global sport politicians, I say that deliberately, try to say that sport and politics don't mix. We have come to realize that that's a myth, and it does mix, so that you can't get away from the reality of the challenges facing the Commonwealth and the Commonwealth Games Federation and the Commonwealth, and it's a necessary conversation. And that was something we wanted to include when Trinidad and Tobago made a bid to host the Commonwealth Youth Games for 2021, but COVID put that on the back burner. But
Yep, I hear you on that, Brian. It's a discussion that we continue to have in that regard. Thanks to you, thanks to Ms. Henderson as well, and we showed you some of the images of the presentation of the baton to various dignitaries. Thanks very much once again for taking the time to be with us this morning, as we look forward as well to the Commonwealth Games itself in 100 days' time. Thanks very much for being with us at 7:54.
Thank you for having us.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you.
7:54 in Trinidad and Tobago. As we head to the break, we have an image for you now of the hummingbird captured at in the area of the gold and yellow poetry, taken by Angeli Paris Ramsing. Very impressive image as we head to the break.